Good evening, folks. It is 7 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. Item number 2, roll call.
Councilman Becker,
Here.
Councilman Jacob,
Here.
Councilman Schultz,
Here.
President Johnson.
Here. Item number 3, public hearing. None. We have none tonight. Item number 4, public comment. The city council will receive comments from city residents. Comments are generally limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak is required to sign up in advance or state the following items for the record when called upon: name, address, subject matter, and contact information. No action will be taken on any public comment unless the items are also elsewhere in the agenda. Note for the Zoom folks, this is when we're done hearing the public comment, we will see if the Zoom are wishing to speak during the public comment period, raise their virtual hand through Zoom, as the chat box is not monitored during the meeting, and those on the call must remain muted if not recognized to speak. First citizen to speak, Nathan Friedel.
Here. I won't need all 3 minutes. Nathan Friedel, 430 North High Street, Fort Atkinson. I put an application in for the council position that's open. I just want to take a brief minute to introduce myself to those of you who may not know me. Been in Jefferson County for 32 years, called Fort Atkinson home for 22 years. I work for Kendall Packaging Corporation in Jefferson, Wisconsin. I'm the director of manufacturing there. Been doing that for about 25 years now. Raised a family here, 3 adult children that are now out of the house. And I'm kind of at a point in time in my life where I have a little bit of time to devote to other things now that that part of my life is kind of behind us. So thought I might be able to get back to the community that we've been on so long. So good to meet you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any comment from someone on the Zoom? Second call for public comment. Third call for public comment. Item number 5, the consent agenda. The consent agenda is outlined below. Do I read this? The consent agenda is outlined below and is hereby presumed or presented for action on the city council. It may be removed from the council consent agenda and may be requested by any one council member. Items may not be removed. Items not removed may be adopted in one action without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately or after council agenda or consent agenda is placed. Well, excuse me, folks, is placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the council president.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, petitions, requests, and communications. Tonight we have none. Item number 7, resolutions and ordinances. On the first reading of an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of Fort Atkinson to change the zoning from single family residential SR2 to multifamily residential MRH 30 for a portion of the city owned property located along the Banker Road
Yeah, thank you, Councilman or Council President Johnson. So this is the first reading of this request. As you know, ordinances go through 3 readings at council. Occasionally at the second reading, if we've had no public comment about it, we will ask if the conditions require an expedited foregoing the third reading. I don't think we have that situation in here. This is related to the Banker Road property that the city owns. This is our first project, if you will, on that 75 acres. You'll see later in the agenda, there is a CSM that actually outlines this particular parcel that we're requesting the rezoning for. The city, as the owner, is the applicant here. You'll note in your packet that zoning map changes go through a very clear set of criteria in order to be approved. All of those have been met in this situation. The zoning that is requested is MRH 30. That fits this development the best. If you'll recall, we also applied MRH 30 zoning to the privately owned parcel to the south that council looked at not too long ago with the 36 unit building that was proposed near the high school driveway entrance. Yeah, I think that kind of covers everything. I'd be happy to answer any questions council might have related to this request.
Have we heard any feedback from the community through official means like email, phone calls in opposition to this?
No, we did have one of the residents in the town reach out, and Manager Lemire and I met with them. I would characterize their questions more as what's going on, and we kind of gave them an update on the various developments out there. But that's the only feedback that I've received, and I'm not aware of any other staff receiving anything.
Okay, thank you.
The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing at the meeting on April 25th. There were no public comments. There were no members of the public who spoke on that. I will also note that as Engineer Sally indicated, this is meant to accommodate the proposed project that includes 3 buildings, and that there will be another a conditional use permit eventually that will go through this public process. That will outline exactly, locations of buildings, materials used for the buildings, landscaping, more akin to the site plan review. So this is just the zoning portion for this project.
Andy, you said you didn't feel there was any major urgency with this one.
No, I think we're 2025-ish from getting some construction going out there, maybe 24. So we're not in any hurry.
Got it. I'll move to direct the city manager to prepare this ordinance for a second reading at the May 16th, 2023 council meeting.
Second.
All those all those who approve signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7B, first reading of an ordinance to amend the city zoning map to the city of Fort Atkinson to change the zoning from single family resident SR5 to duplex DR8 for the property located at 426 McMillan Street. Mr.
Yes.
Shelley.
Thank you. This is an area just to the north of the hospital. To place this in some context, the hospital is moving ahead with some requests of city staff and the city council and planning commission to make some changes to the comprehensive plan, where we had indicated some significant expansion of healthcare facilities in this area. And the hospital is indicating that expansion may not necessarily be needed. So the transition into residential in certain areas is going to take several approvals. This is one of the first that has come before you. You'll note in your packet, there is a preliminary plat of these parcels and a new road that would accompany them. These, there are 5 parcels. There are 4 of them that will be receiving, if approvals move forward. 4 of them will be receiving the houses along North 4th Street that will be moved after the vacation that was approved at City Council here recently. The Planning Commission and the City Council will meet jointly next Tuesday on May the 9th for another public hearing on this, and that's where the comprehensive plan will be presented. Those changes as well as a number of other elements of this. So the zoning change that we're hearing this evening is the first reading of such. It'll come before City Council at 2 more readings. The Planning Commission has seen this at their meeting on April the 25th, but only in an information capacity. There was no official action taken. So they are aware of that. And then further, the comprehensive plan is also an ordinance, and that will come before the City Council at a number of meetings following the May 9th joint meeting. So lots of approvals, lots of opportunity for public engagement on this and for City Council to review various elements. So I'd be happy to answer any questions associated with that, this request this evening.
Is similar to what Councilman Schultz asked before. Have we had any resident feedback so far on this?
No, we haven't. I will note that we did have some of the residents within this area at the Planning Commission meeting. And I think there were a few questions afterward with some staff that I noted, but not directly with me. So I do think that those that are engaged in this and likely from the 4th Street vacation are kind of paying attention to what's happening out there. And Ford Healthcare has reached out to their neighbors in this area, formally and informally. So I think there's a bit of an awareness out there already of this.
Understood.
I move to direct the city manager to prepare this ordinance for a second reading at the May 9th, 2023 Joint Council Plan Commission meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 8A, city manager's report.
Thank you. So I want to welcome our new utility billing specialist, Kara excuse me. Kara will work in the clerk treasurer's office, but she'll also work closely with the water utility employees with the meter replacement program and various other programs and projects that they do. So welcome to Kara. I also want to recognize Clerk Treasurer Finance Director Michelle Ebert. She attended the Municipal Treasurers Association conference last week and was awarded a scholarship that covered the cost of registration. Thank you for applying for that. And also on a personal note, I want to congratulate Ms. Ebert on receipt of the Birch Sturm Fellowship Award through the Lions Club. So we certainly appreciate and admire your commitment to public service. So congratulations. The Mothers Against Drunk Driving group, MAD, has selected police officer Noah Sampson to receive the MAD Law Enforcement Recognition Award for his efforts in enforcement, education, community involvement, and training work in 2022. He will receive a certificate of appreciation and a pin from that organization. The City Council recognized April 28th as Arbor Day, and staff and residents celebrated in many ways, including planting trees and a tree walk where trees were identified through sidewalk chalk. Unfortunately, that sidewalk chalk has washed away, but I do want to recognize Public Relations Executive Assistant Sarah Wayert for her efforts in making Arbor Day accessible to residents in our community through social media. Parks and Recreation staff member Matt Thompson recently passed his CPO or certified pool operator test. And now we have 2 staff members who are CPO certified, Dave Radloff and Matt. So congratulations to Matt and best of luck to both of them who will embark on their first aquatic center season coming up this year. Also, I will note that the park restrooms are now open to the public and the drinking fountains will be operational by the end of the week. The City of Fort Atkinson Capital Catalyst Revolving Loan Fund Loan Review Committee met yesterday and recommended that the Economic Development Commission approve a loan for Oak Tree Child and Family Services to locate here in Fort Atkinson. The Economic Development Commission will review the application and that recommendation at their meeting on May 3rd. So hopefully we will have another recipient of a loan through that program. U.S. Representative Scott Fitzgerald was at the municipal building today to assist folks with their federal issues and problems. And I did stop up and talk to him about him and his team about any additional funding opportunities for our public works facility project. So they did have a couple of loan programs that they directed me to that I will be looking at as well in addition or maybe instead of our general obligation borrowing plans, depending on rates and competitiveness of those applications. Today, we held the third of 4 council orientation sessions. The topics included our departments and staff members. Each of our department directors had about 10 to 15 minutes, or excuse me, 5 to 10 minutes to introduce themselves and explain staffing and services of their departments. We also had facility tours on Friday, April 28th, and the final orientation session will cover finances and budgeting and will take place on May 16th. The airport committee will meet on May 4th. As Engineer Selly mentioned at the orientation, we hope to move forward a few projects with some of the federal funds that are available. Wisconsin DOT will be starting a project on Main Street and Whitewater Avenue between Madison Avenue and County M this week. There will be 92 curb ramps improved before the milling and repaving of the asphalt later in the project. So this project should be entirely finished in October, and the DOT does not expect to fully close the road during that time. The deadline for applications for the 1-year term on the city council to fill the current vacancy is Friday, May 5th at 4 p.m. to the city manager's office. As of today, we have received 5 applications. The city received a Fort Atkinson Community Foundation grant to assist in supporting the local government academy. Staff will be issuing a press release next week with a summary of the program as well as the application. And as a reminder, this program will be an opportunity for interested residents to learn more about the services and operations of city government. We continue to work with Angus Young to plan for and design a new public works facility. The city closed on the adjacent property last week and a survey of the property has been prepared. The next steps will include a request to vacate a portion of the James Way public right-of-way, a certified survey map combining land into one parcel, and any needed zoning changes. And just a couple reminders for everybody, the Department of Public Works and Parks and Recreation Department continue to look for seasonal employees to join our team. Please visit the city's website if you know any interested high school or college students who are interested in a lot of really fun and great experiences. Dog and cat licenses were due April 30th, so remember to license your pets, and the compost site is open. So check out the website for hours on that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I call for nominations from the council for the president pro tem position.
I'd be happy to nominate Councilman Eric Schultz to serve as council president pro tem.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any other nominations for the position?
You just
I-
held,
yeah,
you held
I-
the vote. You just held the vote.
Okay.
You're doing great.
I accept. Yeah.
Will you accept?
Yeah.
Are there other nominations for that position? According to my rule, that's what I'm supposed to read.
I think you called the vote, so I
right.
think you're good.
We're there. Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you.
Item number 10, new business. Review and possible action related to the moving date of the July 4th, 2023 council meeting to July 6th, 2023 due to 4th of July holiday.
Thank you. Typically, we only move council meetings for few rare occasions, that being elections, but as a celebrated holiday falls on a Tuesday, which is also a recognized holiday, I would not want to make any council or employees have to come in that day and endure a meeting. So I respectfully request the council to move the date to Thursday, July 6th. And if there's any objections, I'm sorry.
I move to approve changing the date of the July 4th city council meeting to July 6th, 2023 due to the 4th of July holiday.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10B, review and possible action related to a 2023 water main replacement and road construction project. Mr. Sully.
Thank you. So the the 2023 work, as I think council is aware of, is going to take place on Florence Street, Rogers Street, and Wilcox Street, as well as Glenwood Court and the Curtis Circle. That was what I was forgetting. Over there, kind of near the northeastern part of the city. All of those roads have water main that has more holes in them than good, frankly. So this is again our residents funding of our annual water main replacement at work. This is a direct result of that additional funds that they were kind enough to allow us to move forward with and get this annual maintenance or main replacement program going. We received 2 bids for the work this year. One from Forest Construction, who performed all of our work last year. That was done kind of south of Rockwell Avenue, and from E&N Hughes, who I don't think we've worked with in the past. I'm looking at Tom because I wanted to confirm that. They have bid in the past, though. The bids were very close to the engineer's estimates, which is always good. They are a little higher than last year, but I'm not terribly. I was happy with where we were, given all the talk of inflation and the rise in prices. So I think we're doing okay there. The city staff would recommend that we go with the low bid, Forest Construction and Landscaping. Their base bid was $2,668,000 in round numbers. I have added a contingency onto that of 10% that will allow us to deal with unforeseen issues, and those may be when we pull up the pavements and find that we have a lot of water in the road base or under the ground in an area that we didn't expect. We need the kind of the ability to fix those types of things during construction. I'd prefer not to come back to council to ask for permission on those things, and I don't think you want me to, frankly. But we want myself and Manager Lemire to be having a check and balance with the distribution of that contingency. So you'll note in the request that I asked for that contingency to be managed as well. There are 5 different accounts that this will come out of. 2 of those are different water main accounts. The main replacement is kept separate from the water services as well as the hydrants based on PSC rules. The other accounts are, as you would expect, the general fund that pays for the road work, the wastewater utility that pays for some improvements that we have in the sanitary system out there, and then the stormwater utility that pays for curb and gutter, as well as catch basin improvements and some of the collection system piping. So, and that was all broken down for you in the memo. I think we're looking at a midsummer start date for this. The contractor hasn't been forthcoming with the schedule yet because they haven't been awarded the contract. So, but that was what the whisper was when I spoke with them before. So, any questions council may have with request or with this request?
The documentation you provided seemed pretty in depth. Do you believe that with the 2 bids we got that we're getting quoted the same quality of work?
I do. I haven't really seen a significant difference in contractors since I have been here. And so although I haven't worked with E&N Hughes, this type of work is it's underground work, right? And so it's really it's work that, as long as we're inspecting and we're working with experienced crews, has gone very well for us. Where we have had some challenges is on the paving side of things. So the E&N Hughes and Forest Landscaping and Construction are the general contractor. They hire out a sub to do paving and concrete work and things like that. We do occasionally run into some things on the paving side of things more so than anything.
Okay.
Andy, one question I had, and I apologize for putting you on the spot a little bit, but I had a resident complaint about Rogers Street again over the weekend. I know that entire street is in really bad shape. I'm happy that the portion from North High to Jefferson will be addressed, but and I know funds can only go so far, but is there any long-term plan for the rest of Rogers right now? Or
I don't have anything off the top of my head. Our work next year is likely going to focus in one of 2 areas, Clout Streets, Messmer and Zafke. We would like to finish work that I already have designed over there. I also have work over around McMillan Street by the hospital there. That main is in pretty rough shape as well. And there were two other streets associated with that McMillan project. So kind of evaluating which of those two is frankly the worst. The road is in terrible shape on Rogers Street. I do agree. I don't believe the main under there has quite as many holes in it, however, which is what's driving me from investing in the road above, because the water main below is it's not good, but it's not terrible yet, if that makes sense. So I answer this question quite often. Why can we not get the road fixed up above? And it's because the water main below needs to be fixed first.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So no, I appreciate that explanation.
Sure.
One spot I had a few people reach out, like Florence, is there actual storm sewers under that street, the whole stretch, or?
Not for the whole stretch. There's a portion of it. And I think that we have redesigned that to include storm along the entire thing. There's a number of sumps in there. And then as Florence comes under, forgetting the name of that road that
Memorial?
not Memorial, it's on the south end. Anyway, there's a swale there that we basically had to dump into the ditch on the other side.
Mhm.
We've got storm going under there as well. So
Okay.
we should clean up some of the storm issues in that area. And that's been an ongoing thing. I think when Florence was built in the first place, they didn't put storm in and then retrofitted some storm there, which I think solved some of the problem, but probably not quite as comprehensively as we're going to hopefully do now.
Can you just talk a little bit about construction oversight and how we would address any sort of paving, who do we have out there and what is our plan for oversight for this? year?
Yeah, so we have a couple of options for oversight. We can, what we did last year was we had a full-time inspector on site from Rupert Milky. They're the folks that designed the project. And the other option is if we're able to bring on a city or an assistant engineer or someone in that capacity, that can be a source of oversight as well. So we do have some conversations going on right now for an applicant in that position. So those two options remain open at this time. And I will note, we didn't get letters out to all of the residents last year with the project, which was much larger than what we have this year, but we will get residents letters out individually so that they're aware of the work and that they know it's coming well ahead of my estimate is probably a July start date.
We'll just touch on your, the paving over bad main. We've had enough times where you guys have paved over a bad main, and shortly after we're peeling up the blacktop and putting a patch in. I don't like to see that. As
Yeah,
much as
it is
anyone else does, so.
difficult thing to watch.
I like it when you enlighten the citizens as to why you're picking one road over another, because it makes some of it easier for an explanation when I'm asked.
Yeah, we will eventually get to a point where we're going to have to fix some of these roads that have poor-ish main under them. It's honestly, it's kind of the it's which is the worst, right? They're all kind of bad in certain areas, but which is the worst that we want to forego until we can replace it. And then we look at some of those that, all right, it's on a 1 to 10 scale, it's a 3, right? And we're just not going to get to it for another 10 years. So let's try to invest in the asphalt if we can. Not an ideal situation, but there is some thought behind it, which I think if you explain it to residents that contact you, they can appreciate that a little bit.
That's good information to have.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would remind folks too, it's not just the city of Fort Atkinson dealing with this. I've seen a lot of the communities around this area seem to be having, fairly frequent water main breaks just because the ages are similar, I think. So,
yeah. And we have made huge progress on roads. Don't get me wrong. And I owe you council members some statistics on that that'll be forthcoming. But we have done some amazing things over the last 5 years or so with respect to catching up on some things. So there's a lot of good things to talk about as well.
absolutely. Well, I'm glad this will be moving forward. So I'll make the motion to approve a contract with Force Construction for the 2023 water main replacement road construction project in an amount not to exceed $2,668,738 and authorize the Director of Public Works to manage a 10% contingency fund in the amount of $266,873 with oversight of the city manager.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I think we could do for one more.
Yeah.
Get your steps in.
Item 10C, review and possible action relating to certified survey map for a portion of the city-owned property located along Banker Road. Mr. Selly.
Yeah, thank you. So this is back to the top of the agenda, the area that we were talking about rezoning. So this certified survey map is the parcel that we're breaking off from the 75 acres that will house that development that we've been talking about rezoning. As Manager Lemire mentioned, this will come before you in a number of different approval states with details on what that development looks like. But for now, we just simply need a box that we can apply the zoning to, and that's what this does. The map that you have before you also includes right of way to the north. That has been dubbed Trillium Drive. The development itself is going to be called the Trillium. I'm not necessarily sure that we can't change that if there's a strong opinion on that from city council, but it seemed to fit and meet our needs in the short term here. And then you'll also note that there is the relocated Banker Road right of way is shown on that map too. It's on the east side of the parcel. And that is in keeping with the neighborhood plan that we brought before Planning Commission and City Council maybe a year or two ago. And were supported and approved here at these meetings. Be happy to answer any questions. Sorry, that's usually my cue, right? I forgot that. I was thinking about how I need to get this information on all the good stuff we've done on the roads out. So my mind was elsewhere.
No questions. I move to approve a one lot certified survey map for a portion of the city owned property located along Banker Road.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 11 miscellaneous. Tonight we have none. Item number 12, claims, appropriations, and contract payments. Review and possible action relating to the verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and authorization of payment. Clerk Everett.
I'll go ahead and move to approve the list of verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and or authorized payment.
Second.
This is a roll call vote.
Councilman Becker,
Aye.
Councilman Jekyll,
Aye.
Councilman Schultz,
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 13, adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for putting up with my stumbling tonight.
And first one.